Interesting.
Ready, buddy? All right, here we go.
The perfect drink.
The perfect drink.
The perfect drink.
The perfect drink.
The Perfect Drink is a podcast that combines amazing cocktails with the kind of infinite wisdom that can only come from a lifetime of poor decisions. So take a journey with everybody's favorite bartender. We can make some drinks, have some laughs, and who knows, you might even learn a thing or two. See you soon.
Well, hey, everybody. It is old HRK here, everybody's favorite bartender, and it is time for another episode of The Perfect Drink, where we believe there's a perfect drink for every occasion, even getting divorced. All right, so you're going through the big D, and I don't mean Dallas, music reference. What do you need first? The first thing you need when you're going through a divorce is a fast-talking, hot-shot lawyer, and we are joined today by Chicago's finest, Raif Palmer. Raif, say hello.
Hi, how are you?
Real good. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm a divorce attorney at law firms STG Divorce Law. I've been practicing law about 30 years, been a divorce lawyer for over 20 years. And I have a best-selling book about divorce. It's called I Just Want This Done. Thank you. How smart, successful people get divorced without losing their kids' money and minds. It's on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, all where you can get all ebooks. We've got a podcast called I Just Want This Done Divorce Podcast. And we've got a law firm with 10 lawyers, and we work for smart, successful people, and we solve their divorce problems.
Well, listen, nobody likes divorce lawyers.
Right. Until you need one.
Well, listen, I mean, I loved mine. You know what I mean? But, I always say, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not your fault. You're providing a service. But,
right.
So we met. We just met today, actually, for the first time face to face. But so Ashley has been going through a divorce since the day I met her, and anybody who listens to the podcast knows all about me and fucking Ashley. But anyways, so she tagged you in a video I made about the premise of the video of the TikTok was like the best way to enter a divorce is just to not participate.
Right.
So I've dated two girls that were going through divorce, one for 2 years and then Ashley for like almost 4 years. And each of their husbands were basically just like not the multiple lawyers through the whole thing, not submitting discovery stuff, just like not complying.
Sure.
Does that work?
It's, they think it works.
Sure.
It's a very expensive way foot dragging is unfortunately a big problem.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a passive aggressive thing where these guys, and women do this too, they think they're punishing their other spouse, and in a way they are because they're costing everybody more money. And it's kind of like, I'm going to, if you want a divorce, I'm going to drag, you're going to have to drag me kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
And it's a defensive tactic, it's a delay tactic, it's a denial thing, like, they figure that if they just drag it out enough, that they'll eventually get the other person to concede.
Yeah.
And it sometimes it works. People get sick of it. Emotionally, they get tired. They get financially tired.
Sure. It's a battle of wills.
And people give in.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some divorce lawyers allow that to happen, or they don't encourage their clients to move a case forward, or these folks don't have lawyers, or they go through 3 lawyers and they can't find another one.
They can't find another one, sure.
Or they run out of money, can't afford another one, and now they represent themselves. So it's a big problem.
Yeah.
And so it's real. And there are tactics you can use to move the ball forward, but it can be very tough.
Yeah. Ashley, I know she said she messaged you. First guy she's ever DM'd since in the last 4 years. She said she messaged you and she said something. She sent you this big long thing.
Yeah.
And you replied, go to trial.
Yeah.
Just go to trial.
Unfortunately, you have to, it's like they say with like business, you have to spend money to make money. It's a lot like that. It's like you got to spend some money to push the ball forward.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it costs money to go to trial. You have to get discovery done, so exchanging all the information, financial information about the kids, and you have to get all that stuff done before a court will give you a trial date. Once that's done, you go to what's called a pretrial conference. You get a trial date scheduled. By the way, this is Illinois specific, but generally the tactics work all across the United States. So once you get that trial date, now there's a line in the sand. People have to start getting serious.
Sure.
Because if you don't reach an agreement, the court's going to work something out for you, whether you like it or not.
Right.
So the guy has no more, the guy or the lady, whoever's dragging their feet, they're going to run out of road. So all of a sudden, people start coming to the table because they realize, well, geez, if I don't make a deal, the judge is going to force something on me that I might not like.
Right.
So
Yeah, both these instances I'm talking about, the guy would agree, like Ashley and her ex, whatever, they've had the same parenting arrangement for 4 years,
Sure.
and that's the arrangement.
Yeah.
And so they write out the arrangement. He's like, yeah, the arrangement's fine. And then it's time to sign. And he's just like, no, you got fancy law jargon in there. You know, it's like, yeah, bitch, that's called Latin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's whatever.
Right.
But like, I don't know if he really doesn't trust it or if he's just being fucking difficult. But
probably being difficult.
Yeah.
And so far the delay tactics in his mind work. So far he hasn't had to come to the reckoning.
Right.
If he's the one making more money, you know, to some people a divorce is nothing but downside.
get right up on the mic.
Oh, so for some people, divorce is nothing but downside. So if he's the person who doesn't want the divorce, if he's the person who thinks I'm giving up half of my money, well, he doesn't want that day to come.
Right.
And the best thing to do is take away the football in his mind.
Yeah, for sure.
And so far in his mind, this works. And unfortunately, if you're in Cook County, shout out to my Cook County lawyers and judges, in Cook County, cases can take 3 to 5 years. If people want to drag their feet, that's the easiest place to do it. The courts are overloaded. This isn't all, I can't blame the judges for all of this because the system is loaded up.
Right.
There aren't enough judges. There's a shortage of judges in Cook County. I know the caseloads are high. But if judges set trial dates early and often, these cases will get resolved.
Right. Let's make the cocktail.
Yeah, please.
So
You know I like a good tequila.
yeah, we got some Casamigos.
I'm a beach guy. I'm a Mexico guy, so I like my tequila.
I'm like a Wilmington Fireman's Club beach guy, but I get it. That's the bartender.
I'm a Cancun guy.
Hey, God bless you.
Get me to Cancun.
Today's cocktail is called Grounds for Divorce, and it is a spin-off of a margarita. So
Yeah.
it's a
Reposado. All right. Shout out to Casamigos.
yeah. George Clooney never getting divorced, or is he?
By the way, if Casamigos wants to sponsor Ryan's show, please.
Yeah, George, reach out. Have your people call my people. So you're gonna go. I'm doubling all the ingredients, but you're gonna go 2 ounces of your Reposado tequila.
Love it.
I'm gonna do 4 ounces.
By the way, Reposado aged in whiskey barrels, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's over. Like they do something with charcoal and
Yeah.
some crazy.
It's like 3 to 6 months or something, and then añejo, for those of you playing the home game, is like a year plus aged.
Listen, don't show me up. I'm not outlawing you. Don't
you're the
don't
bartender.
outliquor me.
You're the bartender. You're the bartender. But this is tequila's my thing. So
I
that's,
get it.
That's
I
like the
love
one
tequila,
thing
yeah.
I know about Ryan. Is
I'll say I could tell. So 3/4 of an ounce of Contro took me 3 years of bartending to figure out how to say that word, and then a little splash of pineapple juice,
It's French, by the way.
and about 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice.
Okay.
I'm gonna add a little more because we're making 2, and I forgot.
Nice.
There we go. All right. You can salt the rim of your glass. We're here at Fitz's Pub in
Yeah.
Elmhurst.
Yep. Been here for years. Great place.
Staple of the community. I don't know where their bar salt's at and all that, so we're just keeping it simple today.
Yeah, no problem.
Give her a shake, and then pour over fresh ice.
Nice.
It says to garnish with a pineapple, but as we are men, we will not be doing that silly shit.
It's like the Beastie Boys say. It's when you pour it on ice.
See, I didn't fucking make enough. Another music reference. We try to work in as many music references as we can.
I'm a Gen Xer, so we got my shout out to my Beastie Boys.
You can tell I haven't done one in a while. I already made the drink so it didn't make enough.
Well, I'll just take the full
You
one.
take
So
the full one right now, right? Absolutely. I wouldn't have it in.
don't mind if I do.
Yeah, take it.
Oh, thank you.
All right, let me get this other one shooken up.
I'll wait till you're ready because I'm a gentleman.
You
so-
are.
Yeah.
That makes one of us. All right, here we go. Now we're talking.
Yeah, so how we saw that direct message, Ryan, and then I started following your channel. I love your stuff.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hopefully it doesn't taste like shit. Tastes like a pineapple margarita.
That's nice.
Yeah, I like it. And I don't like fruity drinks much, but that's pretty good.
That's real good. Thank you.
Yeah. My TikTok's doing well. Made some money. So we haven't done a podcast in a while. My Roadcaster broke. As anyone who listens to the show knows, I am not a rich man. But I just got a fat fucking TikTok check, so there's going to be some big changes around here, Will. We upgraded to the Roadcaster Pro 2. I'm going to start doing merch. We got fucking fancy guests now. Things are looking up.
I feel very fancy. Thank you.
So back to fancy guests. I got a couple... I feel like there's a couple things that I've noticed from my divorce that are misconceptions that I had about lawyers.
And how long ago were you divorced?
Oh, fuck, 2010.
Okay,
Long time
quite
ago.
a while back. All right.
I had the easiest divorce in the world.
Okay.
3 months, done. We
too.
agreed on stuff, piece of cake. It was great.
Yeah.
But not everybody's as lucky as me.
Yeah, right.
So you've been divorced?
2015.
Okay.
Yep, amicable. We talk about it in the book. My story's in the book. We talk about stories from real life. Every chapter is a different client's true story. Names changed to protect the innocent.
Sure. So here's what TV would lead you to believe that lawyers are like private investigators. Like a defense attorney on a TV show is like getting his client off by going to the scene of the crime and doing investigative work and like finding out who did it.
Right.
Lawyers do not, like, I remember thinking like, why my lawyer can get all this, dig up all this stuff on my ex, and the lawyers are like, well, you get whatever information you have and give it to me.
Sure.
And do you find that a lot of people expect you to be like this,
Yeah.
Forensic fucking accountant or whatever, you know what I mean?
They think two things, and it's understandable, especially from TV and movies. They think, number one, that people care, that the court cares.
Right.
I hate to tell you the court doesn't care. Number two, they think the lawyer's going to dig up all this stuff, or that they'll bring us a pile of emails, incriminating stuff, video, whatever, and they say, like, I caught him cheating. Okay, nobody cares. Not that nobody cares morally, spiritually, or whatever.
Sure.
And we as lawyers care because we care about our clients. But the law doesn't care. You get no edge
Right.
by showing, it doesn't matter who did what to whom. It doesn't matter how much of a jerk the other person is or how nasty they were. That matters for children. For custody and visitation, if there's abuse, neglect,
Sure.
and that's outlier situation type stuff. But who did what to whom, totally irrelevant.
Right.
And
right.
cheating, all that, whatever that bad behavior is in the marriage, doesn't affect the outcome of the divorce case. I hate to tell you.
In Illinois.
In Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah, in other states, it actually
Sure.
does.
Mhm.
It can
Yeah.
seriously affect the outcome of a case. If you prove cheating I happen to know, if you prove cheating in South Carolina, no alimony.
Even if the guy cheats?
Well,
Because I feel like in the South, the guy should be able to do whatever the fuck he wants. You know what I mean?
well, yeah. By the way, consult your South Carolina lawyers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not a South Carolina lawyer, and they have a smooth accent. there, too.
That's the best accent in
Yes.
the Savannah,
It's like a hint.
Charleston.
Yeah,
It's so
It's sort of this
sophisticated.
classy Southern
Oh,
accent.
God.
It's beautiful.
What I wouldn't give.
Yeah, so you're right. So it's, but in Illinois, it doesn't matter. We're a no-fault state. You can't even say in the petition for divorce, they did this to me, they did that. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, right. Next one. I think that people think that lawyers hate each other. Like that the person that is representing your ex, like your lawyer and him, are enemies.
Yes.
You guys are all got to be friends, right?
Well, so this is a great point. So nobody's really asked me this question before, Ryan. This is a good one. So I wouldn't say, so some of us are friends because we see each other all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the court, now we're back in the courthouse. So just in DuPage County, for example, where we are right now, we've gone back to in-person court since the pandemic. We did a lot of remote court for a long
Sure.
time. Cook County's still remote downtown. So yeah, we were back in person, but back in the day, so I've been a lawyer for a long time. And so the guys there's a person I used to work for who's now a judge. Mm-hmm. And you're a certain age when people that were your buddies are now judges.
Yeah, right.
That's very weird and interesting. And people that maybe you worked with or worked for are judges, and they're your contemporaries. They're like your age. That's very strange because when you're a young lawyer, you sort of revere judges and put them up on a pedestal.
Definitely.
And they deserve respect and they do a great job, and it's not an easy job, by the way. So, but let's talk about lawyers and friends. So I think there are two things. Clients think that we all hate each other and that we're supposed to battle each other like on TV, and,
Right.
and like we're going to yell at each other in the hallway,
Sure.
and in the courthouse, and stare each other down, like it's like a rap battle or something. That's not what's going on. We need to be civil to each other to do a good job. We have to be professional. So we are friends or friendly with other lawyers, but we keep it professional. And I would say we're more acquaintances with lawyers than friends.
Yeah.
I don't really want to hang out with other divorce lawyers on my off hours.
Yeah.
And I like one so much that I'm married to her. So my law partner, Julie Guman, is a divorce lawyer too. We're in a firm together. So, but we don't want to hang out with other divorce lawyers. Sorry to let the divorce lawyers down, but we do enough of this. I don't want to talk shop after hours.
Right. Sorry for dragging you in here today.
No, I'm happy to. I like talking with you about it. It's fine.
I get it.
Yeah. So, but yes, we're not going to fight with each other. There are some lawyers that are hotheads, and they do that stuff, and I find it unprofessional and not
silly.
Productive. But they do that, and they sort of enjoy the drama. I don't think it's profitable or productive for our clients. And you'll find most lawyers are acquaintances with other lawyers and friendly with other lawyers, but not necessarily friends.
Okay.
Some of them are, but most of us don't want to deal with this stuff in their off hours. But I think clients think that we're supposed to battle with each other, and it's counterproductive.
Of course. It doesn't make any sense. But on TV, they hate each other, so you just...
Yeah, and they think, well, we're going to square off, and it's like Rocky IV, and we're going to duke it out. It's just not how it is, and 95% of divorce cases settle eventually.
Sure.
And the thing you want that case to settle sooner.
Yeah, definitely.
More efficient.
Last thing that I thought that I learned in my divorce was like, I think people want, it's so nerve-wracking. I think people want an update. I think people in the beginning expect their lawyer to text them every single day with like what's going on.
Yeah.
And lawyers keep everything short. And what I learned was that they're doing that to save you money.
Sure.
Because they know that it's not important information. Like nothing happened at court today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a continuance or whatever.
Right.
But the person who's, going through it wants to know everything and wants to talk your ear off. And I think when people think their lawyers ignore him, I've heard people tell me this like, well, he doesn't communicate well. I'm like, no. I think he's trying to save you money.
Yeah.
Because every conversation's billable. You know what I mean? So am I right on that? That when you're short, like Ashley sent you this big long thing, you were like, go to trial. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that was TikTok, and she wasn't a client to be
Well, of
fair.
course. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
And I get tons of questions on TikTok. By the way, at Raif Palmer is my
Absolutely.
Chicagoland divorce lawyer is my handle on TikTok.
You got a great TikTok.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please give me a follow. I answer people's questions about divorce. Whether you're from Illinois or around the country, I do my best to answer questions, and I enjoy it. So I believe lawyers don't communicate enough. I believe lawyers don't educate enough. We're not trained in that. We're trained to solve problems. We're trained to solve legal client problems. We're not trained to educate. We're not trained to inform. We are very analytical. The people attracted to law school are analytical people. They're problem-solving people. And there is no class in law school called client communication, how to keep clients happy.
That's surprising, to be honest.
I'm telling Ryan, you'd be surprised. I talk about it in the book. Lawyers are trained. It's kind of like going to welding school or to learn how to be a machinist, or I imagine. It's a trade school.
Yeah.
And you learn the trade, and nobody teaches you that there's this thing called clients. They teach you about cases, they teach you about the law, and then they say, go out there and be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then you learn, you realize, 80% of it is learning on the job.
Yeah,
And
well, that's every job, though, I think.
It's true, but law school should include more practical stuff.
Yeah, I'm surprised it doesn't.
I agree. And I talk about a little bit of that in the book. I've talked about it on social. And lawyering ultimately is about people.
Of course.
And bartending is about people.
Yeah, well, that's my specialty.
Yes, it is. And it's
if I could read, I'd be a lawyer.
and when I learned, so in law school, I came out of law school thinking it's 90% law, 10% client. I didn't even think it was anything about clients. I just thought I'm going to work on cases.
Yeah.
And soon enough, you learn it's actually 90% people, 10% law.
Yeah.
Once you learn that, that's unlocking the cheat code. And understanding people is the secret to doing a good job for people.
Well, with that, let's rip some shots.
Oh, boy.
We'll cue the rip and shot song. Normally, see, I'd hit this little button, and then
cue
you'd
the
hear
rip
this
and
song.
shot.
All my friends are ripping shots.
So it's ripping shots. We're going to field some questions from the audience, and the first one's from this guy named Joe, and it's in regards to moving out. So we're going to do a shot today called Joe's Apartment.
All right, Joe's apartment.
Joe's Apartment.
Celebrating Joe.
Yeah, here's the Joe. Joe's Apartment is just equal parts vodka, Kahlua, and a melon liqueur. We're using Midori.
Very good.
I think they got these.
Again, any of these
shitty
companies are
bars
welcome
in
to
this place.
sponsor Ryan's podcast.
Yeah, well, we're drinking Dillinger vodka today. Our friends from Dillinger provide the vodka for free, so that ain't so bad.
Thank you. And
But,
Dillinger, famous Chicago celebrity criminal.
Yeah, real fucking low life. He's probably got divorced.
I don't know.
This is going to be an interesting shot. It's melon and then coffee liqueur. So
All right.
I don't know what to expect, but neither did Joe when he moved out of his house. And we're going to see how it goes here. A couple shots, and then we'll get into these questions. This is going to be fun. Here we go. Cheers. Here's to Joe.
Salute to Joe. Oh, yeah, we got to bounce off that there.
You don't got to do that. I just do it. Force a habit. First question, Joe, and I only took questions.
Interesting.
We got a bunch of questions, but I only took the Illinois ones.
Sure.
So I thought it made more sense. So
Let's
Joe
rock and
from
roll.
Cicero, Illinois says, if I move out during the separation, does that hurt my chances of getting the house?
Not at all. The only impact of moving out of the house is if you have children. You don't want. The argument is, you've abandoned the children by moving out.
Sure.
So, if you're getting along well with your soon-to-be ex, not a big deal to move out. If you're seeing the children regularly and it's not a problem, make sure you're seeing the kids all the time. You don't want to have some situation where you move out and you're far away, and you don't want an argument. You're ignoring the children, blah blah blah, because then maybe you're setting up a temporary parenting schedule that your soon-to-be ex then argues to the court is, what should be the long-term schedule.
Right.
And some of these cases take a long time, like you said. So could be in Cook County, it could be 3 years, and you are establishing a situation where you're seeing the kids every other weekend or 3-4 nights every 2 weeks, whatever it is. And now the argument is, he doesn't really care that much. Next thing you know, that might become your permanent schedule, although those schedules are always modifiable. But to answer Joe's question, no, the ownership thing is locked in. The financial side is he's safe on that.
Okay. Next question. John from Evanston says, this is a long one.
Hey, John from Evanston.
It's a little personal. Not personal to you, personal to, you can tell he typed this with, you could tell he was typing hard.
Okay.
What happens in the room that my lawyer and my ex's lawyer go into and then come out laughing 10 minutes later because it feels like you're just in there talking about how much more money you can squeeze out of me? Ha ha ha, really funny MFer.
So this is I feel for John because this is a common concern, especially when we're back in person in court. And this ties into the thing about lawyers being friends.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I thought of, yeah.
So here's what happens. There's a thing called a pretrial conference, and that is where the lawyers go back with the judge and they talk about your case. And it's an informal conference where whatever the issue is, sometimes there are temporary issues like temporary child support, temporary visitation, and these are established early in the case to get things going on in the short term while the case is pending, because some of these cases take a while. And the lawyers go in the back with the judge. They talk about the facts and the applicable law. And the judge kind of says, hey, here's what I think I'm going to do based on this situation. You can have a hearing out in the courtroom, put on all the evidence so we can argue about this, and I'll come up with a decision. But here's where I'm leaning. And the lawyers know each other because we've been doing this stuff together for a long time. In my case, 20 years. In my wife's case, 25, 6 years.
Right.
So we know everybody knows the players. So it's not unusual for them to be getting along well. Don't worry, the lawyers know, the clients are paying the bills. Nobody wants to throw their client under the bus. We want to do right by the client. So just because we get along well with the other guy doesn't mean we're throwing you under the bus or some games being played. And I've had clients say to me, look, I'm concerned that you guys all play golf together, whatever.
Sure.
First of all, no, we don't. But because, again, I don't want to hang out with lawyers in my spare time. I just don't. Sorry. But, I think most lawyers feel the same way. But we have to have our client's best interest in mind, or we're going to be out of business.
Right. Well, of course, yeah. Referrals are the name of the game. Yeah.
Exactly. And your Google reviews are going to get out there and say, oh, my guy threw me under the bus. Well, that's not real good for business.
Sure.
So what ends up happening, though, and lawyers need to pay attention to this. Lawyers don't think anything of that. They need to understand it's a bad look from their client's perspective. If the client's coming to court, yes, it's great that you're friendly with the other attorney, but don't come out like chuckling with the guy.
Of course.
Because you probably did a great job for your client, but if you come out in the hallway and your client sees you yucking it up with the other guy.
It feels some kind of way.
It feels bad.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of lawyers are tone deaf about their relationship with their client and how the client sees them.
You need to go back to your alma mater and be like, let me teach this class called How to Act Around People.
It's so true, and lawyers forget. First of all, like I said, we're not trained in it. Mm-hmm. Secondly, lawyers get wrapped up in the game and don't think about how they look from the outside.
Sure.
And so that is a problem.
All right, last question for Rippin. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm sorry.
I apologize.
I would say to him,
done.
don't worry. You're not being thrown under the bus. It might feel like that. And you should say to your lawyer, I would address it.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I felt uncomfortable when I saw you chuckling with the other guy. Have him talk to you about it.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I wouldn't say shit to my lawyer.
No, I would.
I'm a Virgo. We avoid confrontation.
I'm a Leo. We go right in.
So is Ashley. She's a fucking lunatic. God bless you both. All right, so last question. This is my favorite one. I saved it for last. This is from Mandy from Morris, Illinois. Short and sweet. Who gets the dog?
Oh, wow.
So I think something like, do you get people arguing over dog? Is there dog visitation? I got an uncle who's going through a divorce, and they got a dog visitation. I'm not shitting. How does all that shake out? Tell me a story.
So that's interesting that you ask. So several years ago, when I started doing this, animals were just considered property, like a TV set. Sorry, I'm a dog lover. Don't hate the player.
Right.
Like you said. Animals were treated like personal property, so the court did not address it. It was like, look, do you want me to just, here's a TV for you. You get the Labrador.
Right.
There was no doggy visitation. I was actually I was involved in the committee talking about somebody proposed like animal visitation. Okay, like a law for that, and a lot of us were like, don't go there because now we're going to open an entirely new World War III with animal lovers. We already have a lot of fights about child visitation.
Sure.
Well, now we're going to spend a fortune on doggy visitation battles. And pet lovers, again, I get it. But do you really want to spend, well, I'm not, some people do want to spend it.
Yeah, I wouldn't phrase it like that.
I won't say it that way. Okay, so I'll back off. So, but what I will say is this. They created a law in Illinois that is kind of, it's sort of a half visitation. It's not like kids visitation, but the court will award the animal to sort of the person best suited to care for the animal.
No shit.
Yes.
And can the other person get like a day a week?
The court doesn't really set up a schedule. The court's going to basically look at the best interest of the animal. I'm not kidding. Mm-hmm. And they will award it to that other person. If people work out a schedule, that's up to them. The court won't set a schedule.
There's no GAL for dogs.
No, there's no GAL for. By the way, guardian ad litem for those of you playing the home game, GAL.
Yeah.
That's a person that evaluates child situation for visitation. There's similar things in every state, but yeah, there's no doggy GAL.
Okay.
Yeah, which we were, by the way, when one bunch of lawyers sitting around the table, we're talking about. I was going to get doggy guardian. What are we doing? And everybody's like, we can't do this. I was against it. As much as I've had 2 Labradors and I have a pug, I love the dogs. A Samoyed now and a little guy. So, yeah. So anyway, so the answer to the question is, if there's a fight over it, the court will award the animal to one person or the other and decide what's in the best interest of the animal.
No lie.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
People are fucking crazy.
Well, it's just, this is stuff that's near and dear to people. The thing about divorce is, the reason it hits people so hard, and the reason why you talk about it a lot, rightly so, it's the intersection of sex, love, money, and children.
Yeah, those are the 4 most important things in the world.
In the whole world.
Right.
It's everything.
What's more important than that?
It's all rolled up into one. So it's the number 2 most stressful thing next to death, right?
Yeah, sure.
So that's why everybody cares about it. And that's why when people react to your videos, because You're talking about dating. You're talking about divorce, relationships. These are things that matter to everyday people all the time.
Absolutely, yeah. Are you finding that, like, Ashley wanted me to ask you this, basically, like, now that women are allowed to, like, drive cars, shit like that.
For a few years in this country, I think.
Women
How long has it been?
Most women work. Most of them make as much as men do.
Yes.
You know, is there a shift in, first of all, visitation? You know, it used to just be the lady gets the kids, the guy has to give her some money. Yeah. And then, like, women paying alimony and child support. Is that, how popular, you know, common, whatever, is it where the woman gets treated like the man circa 1992?
So this is a great question because I'm old enough to have witnessed this change.
Yeah.
So I'm a Gen Xer. Shout out to my fellow Gen Xers. I'm 54. I started practicing law in 1994. Didn't have email back then. That's how old I am, okay? No cell phones.
Holy cow, yeah. I mean, I remember no cell phones, but
Yeah, I mean, I think I got my first cell phone a couple years after, you know, being a lawyer. No texting, by the way, kids, back then.
No shit, yeah.
So, so huge change demographically. So I was in the first law school class at Loyola. I was at Loyola Law School grad. I'm from River Forest originally, went to Oak Park High, U of I at Champaign. And first law school class at Loyola that have more women than men. Very interesting. And the largest law school class they ever had, 1994. So at the time when I started practicing law, most of the judges were men. Most of the lawyers in divorce were men. Totally changed. Totally turned the other direction. And like you said, not just in the law, but everywhere, more females than males are graduating from college. More women are professionals.
Of course.
They're making more money than guys. And we've seen the trend in our practice where, like you said, women are paying men alimony.
That's fantastic.
And so I'm having the conversations with entrepreneurs. We represent a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, corporate executives, professionals who are females and men. And they're having the conversations with me that I've had guys talk to me about 20 years ago, which is, I can't believe I'm spending all this money on alimony.
Yeah.
That's how the law works, and the law is gender neutral.
Well, you broads asked for it, you know. Be careful what you wish for, ladies.
No comment. I can't get in trouble.
Yeah, no, only let me be the dipshit. Right,
what I will say is this. I grew up with, my grandmother was a working professional. My mom is a working professional. My ex-wife, working professional. My wife now is a working professional woman, and all very successful, hardworking ladies. And that's what I'm used to. My sister as well. And the demographic, the world has changed. And now visitation. So it's interesting because you're absolutely right. 20 years ago, I would tell a guy, you're going to get every other weekend and a couple nights a week. And that was very typical. That was not a bad parenting schedule.
Right.
And I saw a trend from then I would tell a guy, well, you're going to get maybe Thursday night to Sunday night and maybe an overnight during the week.
Yeah.
And now I'm telling guys, hey, 50-50 time is reasonable to ask for.
Yeah, yeah.
That was unheard of when I started this business.
Yeah.
50-50, it was laughable when I started. By the way, I wasn't laughing at it, but
I understand what you're saying.
But judges would never contemplate it.
Women probably don't mind 50-50. You know what I mean? You want to pull your weight, by all means. I don't need your money. I just, I wouldn't mind some of my own time to either work or enjoy myself. It's
when parents get along well, something around equal time works well, especially if people can live fairly close together.
Of course.
I'm a proponent of equal or near equal time, under the right circumstances. And so much varies depending on the distance between the parents, the ages of the kids, and it changes over time.
Of course, yeah.
What are the kids' needs? And so my emphasis is always I always avoid what I call balance sheet parenting, which is like, well, I want my time with the kids. No, what's good for the kids? And you talked about this in a video recently. You said, hey, is it better to have 50-50 or is something else the better situation?
Is it better for the kid to be in the same house 90% of the time so that they're in the same house? You know what I mean?
Right. And it's not gender specific. It's just like, think about it from the kid's perspective.
Sure.
How much are you jerking them around? Where's their school? Where are their friends? And hopefully they make friends at both houses and stuff like that. But are you facilitating the kid's life?
Yeah.
And so when I got divorced, I rented a house 2 miles away, a small house in LaGrange Park. So my son could easily get there. He's a high school kid. And anybody who's got high school kids knows, the kids are dictating the schedule.
There's no visitation. You just, when they need money, you get to see them.
Yeah. Well, where they want to play Xbox.
You know, right,
You got to
if they're mad at mom, they'll come to dad's,
Hey, he was never mad at, really wasn't mad at his mom, but you got to create an environment where the kids want to be with you and create a positive situation.
Of course.
So because when they've got their own car and stuff like that, they're going to drive away.
Yeah.
And when they're 18.
Go to fucking Tijuana. They don't give a shit, yeah.
When they're 18, that parenting schedule goes right out the window. So, one thing we talk to people about when you have older teens, like a lot of folks that we represent have like a kid in college and one's like 16. And they start fighting about the parenting schedule. First of all, the kid's driving. So if you're going to make them come to your house,
right,
they're going to get in the car or they're going to text one of their girlfriends and off they go.
Yeah, of course.
So do you want to create that situation where the kid starts resenting you, and when you're 18, that agreement goes out the window and they do whatever they want?
Of course.
So I always tell people, like, if you feel like you're upset about parenting and it's understandable, you want the child to spend time with you, even when you're happily married, you can't make kids spend time with you. Mm-hmm. If they want to go see their friends, you're trying to hold, what are you going to do, ground them and say you got to sit here in the house and they're 17 years old, whatever? So there are people that will spend a fortune on a custody battle with teenagers. You're really barking up the wrong tree with most situations.
You choose your battles, you know what I mean?
And I'm not talking about abuse and neglect situations. Those are outliers.
Of course, goes without saying.
But if it's sort of the typical situation where it's a tug of war, like, well, I want more time, you've got more time, try to think about it from the kid's perspective.
Yeah.
That's all I say. And I sympathize with the parents that feel like they're getting the short end of the stick because I understand. But you got to roll with it and meet the kids at where they're at.
So I have a theory about divorce, and my theory is whatever percentage of the time, 75%, I don't know, I'm just throwing fucking numbers out, but like the majority of the time, I'll bet you that a lawyer who has done it for a little bit can look at the situation and tell you how it's going to end.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So okay,
that's what I talk about in my book.
It's crazy.
It's true.
So this is my.
That's why most cases.
That was
settle.
easier than I thought. I thought I was going to have to really pull that out of you.
No, you don't have to fight me on it. It's the whole idea of the book.
It's like we know where this is going to land.
Correct.
So what are we fucking,
Yes.
So hear me out. I'm going to give you the best business idea ever.
I will hear you
It's
out.
terrible for lawyers except for the one that does it. So this is your move, okay?
Oh, wow, this is how I'll get
Why
rich.
don't we just create a fucking divorce app where you enter your financials and your stuff, and then it gives you like 3 scenarios. It gives you like a 60-40 parenting, a 50-50, and a 30-70 or whatever.
Right.
And it says, this is where you're going to live, and this is how it's going to land.
Yes.
You pay, so look, you buy the app, to get a thing where like you're looking at it.
Yeah.
You charge $100,
Sure.
okay? And then you get your layout. You can pick your 3 choices. The one you like, and then you file it right from the app. $5,000, boom, and then $10,000 doesn't matter.
Right.
It's still less than you're going to spend.
Yeah, people will do it.
You know what I mean? Why don't you get with an app company? You're
I'm working on it,
you're
actually.
Not, okay.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So
This is awesome. I feel like I'm making something happen.
You are making something happen. So let's talk about that. The reality is, most cases fall within a fairly narrow range of outcomes. And I have there's a page in that book where I have a picture called the Divorce Outcomes Gauge, which shows basically, imagine like a circular like a gas gauge, right, or tachometer, and it shows 0 in the middle and a -5% or -10% and +10%.
Uh-huh.
Most cases at trial are resolved between -5 and +5%. Rarely more than -10 or +10. Just imagine that in the big picture: visitation, custody, money. People spend a fortune trying to push the needle 5%.
Right. You're spending $20,000 to fight over 5.
Absolutely right. And that's a nightmare situation for clients. And one thing we talk about all the time in our firm, and what I talk about in the book, is cost-benefit analysis. And unfortunately, this is where I spill the tea about the business. Divorce lawyers, and I'm not blaming them, this is not intentional on their part, but unless clients ask them, they don't always talk about a cost-benefit analysis because clients react out of emotion. And they say, I want this. I want X, Y, Z. And the lawyer says, okay. And the lawyer starts pulling triggers.
Right.
Shooting bullets.
Yeah, yeah.
And nobody says, how expensive are the bullets?
Right. How bad do you want this?
How much
know
do
what
you
I mean?
want this and how much is it worth to you?
Right.
If you tell the guy up front, this is a $10,000 thing and it's a $5,000 problem, the client says, I don't need that.
Right, not that important, you know.
And now I'm using a small number.
I love the Shih Tzu, but I mean, it's not worth 30 grand. I'll buy another one.
That's right. People will spend huge money and not push the needle very much. I'm talking about big six figures.
Wow.
We've had cases in the six figures, and I know firms that have done. There are fees, and this is public. There are people that have paid $1 million plus in legal fees for divorce cases. Now they have huge estates, billionaire type things. Like this is not a secret. Ken Griffin, huge financial guy in Illinois, $1 million plus fees. I mean, fighting over lots of stuff.
Yeah.
The smart celebrities, the smart rich people, you don't hear anything about it.
Right.
Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos.
Fastest, easiest divorces in the world. And
Yes.
just their wives are super rich. You know what I mean?
Quiet, mediation, negotiated, nothing in court, private, not expensive. Well, expensive, but for you and me, expensive.
Right, yeah,
For them,
yeah.
a bargain.
Yeah.
No bad vibes in the media. Nobody knows the details. Everything's private. It's fair enough for them, and they're done.
I think the problem is sometimes one person just wants to make the other person's life miserable.
Well, sure. It's the emotional side of it. We talked about it. Money, sex, love, right? And kids.
Yeah.
People get upset. So they don't care. And the emotions take control. And they're not thinking logically. So they go to World War III.
Right.
They hire what I call a swamp creature lawyer. They hire somebody that's a yes man.
Yeah.
And they just do what they want.
Yeah, I'll file motion after motion after motion. You know?
I tell people we're not a hitman. If you're looking for a hitman, we're not the people.
Right.
We're not a good fit for you. So if you're vindictive, if you're looking for punishment, we're the wrong guy. There's other people that might do that.
Sure.
But I'm not interested. So because that's a losing game ultimately, and ultimately the client feels bad too in the long run because they never get the reward they seek.
Absolutely not. Happiness is the only reward.
Being done has its own value.
Yeah.
Putting it behind you
Of course.
has a huge value.
Yeah.
And Ashley wants to be done.
Yeah.
The book's called I Just Want This Done for a reason.
Absolutely. Plug the book one more time.
Thank you.
Plug your podcast, plug your TikTok.
I Just Want This Done, How Smart, Successful People Get Divorced Without Losing Their Kids, Money, and Minds on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, where all great ebooks are sold. My TikTok is at Raif Palmer. Our law firm, STG Divorce Law in Chicago. So it's stglawfirm.com. And my podcast just started my podcast recently, inspired by Ryan too, by the way, because he's had a pod for a long time. So my podcast is I Just Want This Done pod.com. Easy to find everywhere, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, also on YouTube. So check us out. We started the pod. My partner, Rahul Iyer, and I have the show. Julie's too shy for a podcast. So she does radio, though. We're on WGN. But we're on, we like doing our podcast, drop one every week. So we talk about divorce, we talk about relationships, dating apps.
Yeah, it's not like it's not necessarily like we did today where it's just question answer. You guys get into public, like you'll do like celebrity divorces and it's kind of fun. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Because there are so many boring lawyer podcasts. And for a couple of years I struggled with, I wanted to do a pod, but I was like, I don't want to just talk about alimony.
Right.
I don't want to talk about
Right.
visitation. It's so boring.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to listen to that. I don't want to spend time doing that. So I'm like, what's fun for me? Well, I like talking about celebrity divorces. I like dating stuff.
Sure.
I like reading about like rich people getting divorced or whatever.
Definitely.
So we decided to do a show around that. And we talk about, like, there's one kind of legit informative segment in each show where we say we wrap it in bacon.
Okay.
So everybody likes stuff wrapped in bacon.
Who doesn't? Yeah.
We talk about a celebrity thing, then we riff on that with like a real piece of divorce advice.
Okay.
That's useful.
Great.
Yeah, it's useful for people. So check it out.
I'll put all the links in the in the notes for the episode. And
Thank you.
I had a great time today, man.
Thanks, man. Me
yeah,
too.
thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
You
my
know
pleasure,
it.
Ryan.
All
Thanks.
right,
The drink
Will,
is amazing. Thank you.
Back in the saddle. We're going to be pumping one out every week again. So let's go. I got that TikTok money. Everything's looking up.
Give Ryan a follow, please.
Follow me, you jerks. We'll see you next week on The Perfect Drink. This is HRK signing off.
Raif Palmer.
Take her easy.
Thanks for listening to The Perfect Drink.
hit, like, the outro
Remember, you
music.
can always hear me
Let's go,
first on
man.
Be Positive Radio every Monday at 1 p.m. If you miss me there, all episodes are available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you might listen to your podcasts. Be sure to like, subscribe, and tell a friend. If you're interested in being a guest on the show or you just want to tell me how much you like me, feel free to send me an email at hrkpresents@gmail.com or just slide into my DMs like your mom does. See you next time.